welcome to Labour Lent. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week edition of the program, we'll be focusing on building workers' power through effective economic policies. We also have these stories for you. We will be right back. At a recent retreat of the National Assembly Joint Committees on Labour, Employment and Productivity, conversations centered on the role of social security in achieving economic resilience with NSITF emerging as a focal point of reform efforts. The fund's turnaround under Managing Director Oluwaseun Faleye was acknowledged, particularly in the area of prompt claim processing and institutional accountability.
We are here in Lagos today because we understand that transformation is a continuous journey, not a destination. This retreat is therefore not a ceremonial exercise. It's a working mission, even though the National Assembly is in recess. The motivation and commitment of members to be here this morning, despite that, in their large numbers, speaks to your commitment to these issues. It is therefore an open invitation to reimagine how governance, oversight, and operational leadership can reinforce the values of safety, justice, inclusion, and impact.
But participants at the retreat also emphasized that legal backing and state-level enforcement remain major gaps in Nigeria's social security ecosystem, one that still leaves many workers unprotected.
Equitable compensation to the employee who suffers diseases, injuries, and disabilities, or in the case of death, to their dependents. Other benefits include, but not limited to, ensuring children of the deceased worker are taken care of and educated to degree level. Secondly, payment of medical bills of beneficiaries. And thirdly, providing vocational rehabilitation to get the worker back on the path of productivity.
As stakeholders push for a broader legislative framework and increase public awareness, the spotlight remains on how well NSITF can sustain its reforms and deepen trust in social insurance system.
Ensure workplace standards.
With unemployment and underemployment still a challenge in Nigeria, many believe social protection is no longer optional, but a necessity. The discussion surrounding Nigeria's economic outlook for 2025 continues to generate interest at both local and international levels. At the Frederick Ibach Steam Fungal meeting, Armad Zorn emphasized the importance of fostering a thriving global community.
When we're looking at global landscape right now, we understand that there are a lot of countries out there on the way to economic development that will play a very important role in the next decades. And we also understood that maybe the way Germany, and especially the European Union, or let's say certain of our neighbors have been doing trade in the last years and decades wasn't really fair, to be honest. But we are rather looking forward to have a collaboration, to have a partnership where people in Nigeria, people in Germany, but also across the globe will benefit from this kind of partnership.
Our partners said that the effects are also very strongly visible and have affected people's lives. That is the floating of the naira, which has led to a depreciation, and also the removal of the fuel subsidy.
Guest lecturer Professor Wale Ogunkola from the University of Ibadan analyzed the Nigerian economy projecting moderate growth despite persistent challenges such as inflation, fiscal pressure, and structural constraints.
If we must develop, we are not looking for moderate growth. We need a quantum leap. We need growth rate that is higher, much higher than population growth rate. If we need space at all, we can reduce population growth rate and we have enough for us. Let us assume that we can reduce that, then we should be more productive. There is issue of the cost of governance. If we are serious, we need to address them. Thank God now that we are thinking in terms of tax reform, and I believe that's the best way to go. We cannot continue to depend on the external or international partner for our development. Why am I mentioning cost of governance and the need to develop and domestic resource mobilization? It's so simple. Look at our budgets in the recent years. Recurrent expenditures are far, far more than capital expenditure.
The situation is very bad, but I believe with our resilience and consistent shouting and talking to them, I believe, and government listening to the voice of the people, I think there should be a better thing that will happen in our sector.
The event concluded with a consensus on the urgent need for structural transformation, including reforms in the production landscape and the institutionalization of economic rebasing every 5 years. Sharon Ijason, TVC News.
Thank you.
The Trade Union Congress of Nigeria Southwest Zone is set to hold a second summit in Lagos, themed Empowering Strategic Leadership and Innovation for a Resilient, Ethical, and Digitally Driven Workforce. Participants expected at the event are workers from the Southwest, employers of labor, and government representatives. The Lagos State Chairperson of TUC, Benga Ekundayo, in an exclusive interview with TVC News, says the significance of the summit highlights the ongoing efforts of the association to address labor issues and advocate for the welfare of Nigerian workers.
As usual, we come together every year. I think we started it last year with the summit in Ibadan, where all our members came together from across the Southwest states. And I remember we all talked whether it should continue, and members were unanimous in that it needed to continue. We always bring knowledgeable people to the summit to teach us and give us some kind of reorientation and make us better in service delivery to our members. But besides that, this year, we're also looking at while you're in service, outside service, when you retire, what are the things that you can do? We cannot leave everything to just folding our arms and waiting on government and all that. So even at our level, what are the things that we can do? So we hope that this year we're able to explore the opportunities in the agric value chain and see how we can even organize our members into clusters that can now take advantage of those existing opportunities across the different states, and also knowing how to network, work together and collaborate actually across the states to make it really work for our members, so that on the long run, when you retire, there is something to fall back on. Even now that we're in service, we can also contribute to the GDP in our own way beyond what we do in the office. And the only thing we can do right now is agric under the law. Otherwise, we'll be seen to be competing with our employers, and that's not something that we should officially do. The issues around pension and retirement is an ongoing conversation. Like even this year, there is a body, there is PENCOM that should be coming to talk to members on how to transfer their portfolio from one PFA to the other and get their, their account balances on time, so that they know what is there, what to expect when they retire, so that they are not surprised. So it's an ongoing conversation. But what we've also seen is that the way the country has progressed over the years, you start to work, there is an amount that is deducted, or that is in contributory pension scheme, or if it is defined benefit, that is wholly paid by whether the government or the employer. But it's a specific amount for that time. As you continue to progress with the effect of inflation and recently the massive devaluation, what you find is that what is in that fund may not cater for you when you retire. So the thing is, can you really look back and say you want to depend on pension the way things are happening? It may not be the wise direction to, to follow. We have our parents that have retired, mostly from public service. If not for our support, most of them can't really survive on what they get as pension. And what you get as pension is a function of what has been saved there, either by yourself or by your employer.
It also demonstrates the importance of collaboration between different sectors to achieve meaningful progress on critical issues.
The government of the day needs to do more. If we are talking about growth in Nigeria, we are not just adding value, and that is one of the issues that is really affecting our growth in this country. All our resources are being exported in their raw forms, whereas if there were to be value adding, more employment will have been created, and that also will mean that the lives will be made more better for Nigerians who are seeking for jobs. And in returns, it will equally add to the GDP of this country. Because if value is added and we export goods in their final forms outside the country, it will attract more incomes to this country, and it will help our external trade. Because when our external export is above imports, that means we are also having more to ourselves than those exporting the raw materials in their form without having value. Then when we are now importing the products from these raw materials from outside the country, then we are importing so many products from just one product that we sold out. Now, coming back to my own sector, that is a trade union sector, an affiliate of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Industrial Global Union. There are so many challenges that the state of Nigerian economy has really brought to us. In terms of one, the country, most of the companies are running at under-installed capacity. And as such, they are not making the necessary proceeds or profit that they are expected to make. One, infrastructural amenities are not there, and that has equally made the cost of production higher. There are no level playground for business to thrive. And that is why you can see most of the companies relocating, most of them closing down. And what will eventually happen is labor turnover. Redundancy is just coming on every now and then. People are losing employment, and where they are not losing employment, what really happened is that anti-labor policies have been implemented. People are working under precarious situation. No prospect for development, nothing. So these are the things that we are facing as challenges emanating from the state of Nigeria economy in our sector. But the onus lies on the government to do the needful to make the Nigerian works for people.
The workers' organization should be respected in the industry because we are contributing our best to see that workers are educated in the policies that are being rolled out. Unfortunately, even the regulators, for instance, the Ministry of Labor, when they see this level of victimization, harassment, and threats of workers, and they are brought to their knowledge, they seem helpless to do anything. And it is affecting the psyche and productivity of workers, especially in the industry, where a manager will tell you, I will sack you, even when you have not done anything. The tools to work with are not provided, the materials to work with are not provided, and they want you to do magic. Key performance index are set, that are based on work tools and materials available for you to work, and they are not provided. At the end of the day, you will be judged on these materials. So we wish people come to our help to see that there is a level playing ground for workers and management of these privatized industries or privatized power sector. We are at the receiving end. The targets are very high, sometimes very unrealistic targets. All the man is interested is a cash collection that will translate to profit. And I think since after privatization, nobody has declared profit. Even with the rising collection in billions, nobody has declared profit. Yet you go there are no vehicles to work. You go there, common fuses to work, you will not see. We will use wires, copper wires to improvise, and this translates to a lot of losses on the network. So our concern with what the man is saying, you know, the union is weakened daily when people are sacked. The unemployment or labor market is becoming saturated daily when people are sacked. People graduate, they are not getting employment. The ones that are there are gradually or consistently reduced, making the work, the population of workers very small, and the workload is increasing every day. Check your neighborhood. Every day you see a new house that will require electricity. Who is going to service it? Is it not the same people? So that is one concern.
Apart from the broad macroeconomic issues that have been raised, vis-a-vis the policy direction, the deregulation of the national currency, and also the escalation of fuel prices, which are two key issues that have impacted so much. Apart from those key issues, I think a lot will also be achieved if some of the intervention programs are better targeted. As it were now, there will be almost a dozen programs run by all sorts of government agencies, both at the federal and state levels, and ostensibly to cushion the effects of the economic crisis. But the unfortunate thing is that we just get to hear about these programs. And at the end of the day, billions, trillions get spent, and we don't even know where all those money went or how it was spent. You know, you have money targeting informal workers. You have money targeting so-called poor, because the word poor is so generic now. We can't even define it, because if we are really targeting the poor, I think we know where they are, we know their organizations, we know their faces. But the unfortunate aspect of it is that those organizations or those that represent those poor people are not really involved in conceptualizing the programs and also in implementing them. So it's possible, because of the opacity, it's so opaque, it's possible for those who are in charge of those programs to do what not with it. We also understand that a lot of times there's a lot of politics involved in the targeting of those programs. The senators, the big politicians actually bring their own long list of their own supporters rather than actually targeting. So our own recommendation has always been that organization of working people, we have cooperative associations and so on and so forth, that are also licensed by the government, can be directly involved, so that the disbursement of some of these funds can actually get to the real people that are in need. Because as it were now, people are literally dying of poverty. People have had to withdraw their children from schools because the schools have also introduced school fees. The hospitals, you have to pay, or you do what they call health insurance. And of course, in the informal sector, those are alien concepts. So a lot of unnecessary deaths are going on, a lot of unnecessary suffering. So we believe that if those programs are better targeted, it will make a lot of sense.
On the profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with Armad Zorn, the Deputy Chair SPD Group of the German Parliament. He also oversees economic activities at the legislative arm. It tells me what needs to be done to ensure economic growth across the globe. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
We're so glad to have you here in Nigeria, and you had a conversation with the trade union group, and you also listened to an economist speak about the economy from Germany. You're leading the legislative team when it comes to economy. Can you tell us why it's important for you to come and hear our own story?
I think Nigeria is one of the biggest player on the continent. We know the country has a huge potential, and we in Germany, we want to do business with Nigeria. We want to intensify our relationship in terms of trade, in terms of investment, and that's why it was important for me to come here on the ground and be able to talk to different people and get a better understanding of what's going on here in the country.
Bilateral trade, I know, is important for Germany and Nigeria, and from the research I conducted a few minutes ago, it states that Nigeria is the second largest country in the continent that the German people do business with.
Absolutely.
Looking at the challenges we're facing, what lessons do you think we can learn from your continent?
Well, I don't think I'm best placed to give lessons to the Nigerian people. I think they can decide themselves what is important. But I want to say that we do have similar challenges. In Germany, we're trying to manage our transition. We want to be climate neutral, but we want to keep our industry in Germany. We're looking at the digital transformation, and we want to have more innovation. And at the end of the day, we believe that trade can work. You know, in these times where a lot of people, a lot of countries are choosing protectionism, we believe it's quite important to still do trade, and we want it to be mutually beneficial. So we believe there's a way how Germany and the European Union can work together with Nigeria and West Africa and make it for both sides mutually beneficial. And that's the reason why I'm here, and I'm looking very much forward to continue this relationship.
During the conversation, there was this emphasis on taxation.
Yes.
Even though our government has done well by ensuring that there is an act that ensures that everyone is taxed accordingly, there's this thing about taxing the rich, and also ensuring that there is equality. How would you marry this as regards the economy, moving the economy forward, and also ensuring that decent work, is promoted?
Yeah. Well, and we're facing the same questions in Germany and in Europe. We believe at the end of the day we need a fair and a just tax system. It's important for social cohesion because we want to make sure that everyone will contribute to the development of the German society, of the German economy, and if we're talking about Nigeria, of the Nigerian economy, should also benefit from it, right? You should be able to benefit from your work. And then when we see the situation that a lot of people, super rich people, are not contributing, are not paying enough taxes, then it's just unfair and it's not just. So that's why we believe it's important for social cohesion. But also at the end of the day, in Germany, as much as in Nigeria, we need massive investment in infrastructure. And obviously we know the state is not going to be able to finance all of it, but at least we should be able to place an initial investment, and that's what we're looking at, increasing the tax revenue. And I know that in Nigeria, tax collection is still a big issue. So I hope that the current government will continue the efforts in making sure that we increase the level of tax collection so that we have a greater tax base that can be invested for the people of Nigeria.
You have a rich experience when it comes to economy across Europe and also in Africa. You've worked with some multinationals, and what learnings do you think you've had from the private sector that you think the public system actually can learn to ensure that there is global development?
I think efficiency is one of the key learnings that I'm taking from my time at the private sector, to understand that we need more speed when it comes to decision making. And in Germany, we're currently facing the same challenges because the German state tend to be a bit more slow and very much paying attention to detail. But we need more and more to understand that we're living in a very dynamic, fast-changing and agile world where speed is super important. Innovation and speed are the most important criteria right now. So I believe that we should be able as a state to make sure that decisions are taken based on facts, based on efficiency, but also quite fast, so that we can keep up with the rapid evolution of modern technologies we're seeing. And that's what we're trying to do in Germany right now.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.